Tend the podcast 10 minutes every 10 days. My name is John Wilkerson, and I thought I would give a try here and talk a little bit about why it seems so hard to finish. I am a great starter, and you've probably heard me talk about this several times over the course of my podcasting. I'm a great starter. I can start a project like nobody's business. But the most difficult thing that I tend to run into is that I have trouble finishing. I have trouble when it comes to that last 10% to finish a project. And I'm not talking about making it perfect. I mean, just putting it out there. I've started writing books. I've started building webinars. I've started building courses. I started a number of things. And I just can't seem to finish them. And I don't know what the deal is. And I tend to make a lot of excuses for why I don't finish, for why I never complete some of these projects. And some of the reasons I come up with are that, well, I have this family that I'm taking care of, so I don't have time, or I don't have the right tools to finish, or I lack the talent, or any number of other reasons that I come up with as to why I don't finish. And even when it comes to long-term projects, things that I've been working on for a long time, I tend to not finish well. I just quit it without any resolution. This has happened with podcasts that I've started. This has happened with websites and blogs that I've started. A number of things. I just stop and I don't bother to finish well. So what is it about us as humans? I mean, there are plenty of other people. They have trouble starting. Some people have trouble in the middle of the project of what they're doing, of coming up with ideas. And some people have trouble finishing. So whether your problem is starting, which again, I don't have a problem with starting, or finishing, what is it about us that inhibits us, that hinders us? Because we want to finish well. Paul talked about running the race and finishing it, reaching the prize. And for some reason or another, I have trouble crossing that finish line. And I've tried to figure it out over the years. Tried to figure out what is it? Is it something in my nature? Is there a legitimate reason why I don't do it? There's a tour going on campus here. Is there a reason why I don't finish? And I can't put my finger on it. It could just be because I'm lazy, right? It could just be that I get to a point and I don't want to put the work in anymore. I want to get quick, fast, easy results. It could be that I lack the vision to finish something. It could be that I lack the proper support or discipline. I think probably it's a combination of all of those things. I do know that I will confess this often, not having the discipline to see through a project to make sure all the steps are followed. I often don't feel like there is a support structure. And that doesn't mean I don't think my family doesn't support me in what I'm doing. That's not what I'm talking about. But business support wise, I start a lot of things and I might start strong and I'm going gangbusters. And then when it just comes time to finish, to put on that last finishing touch, I never get to it. I think it's true that there are some financial constraints that I have that would prevent me from finishing some projects that need a lot of polish. But I think there's ways to work around that. Like I said, you just gotta, right? You gotta put something out there that's good enough, right? The least, what do they call it? The least viable product. Something that people will still purchase or decide to use, even though it's not 100% finished. And I listen to podcasts, I read articles, I've gotten advice from people about doing these things. I have the concepts of what it takes to do these things in my head. They're there. They're not foreign concepts to me. But the application of those concepts is where I often fall short. I've gone through courses, and wouldn't say that I've spent thousands of dollars or anything like that on courses, but I've spent hundreds of dollars on some courses. You know, when you combine them all, I've spent some money on courses. And I'll be honest with you, most of the courses that I go through, 80 to 90% of the information in them is the same. It's either reworded or rephrased or something like that, but 80 to 90% of the content is the same. Which is why I back down from buying courses. And I have good friends who are putting out courses, but you know, I love them and I want to support them, but I can't pay $300, $400, $500, $600, $1,000 for a course, and I'm only going to gain, and there might be 10% of the information in there that would apply for me, 20% on the high end. I'm not going to drop that kind of money down on a course. It is pouring down rain and I'm going to get soaked, which is not a good thing if you're trying to record on a smartphone. Anyway, so what do you think? What is it that keeps you from finishing a project? I mean, legitimately, I'm not talking about I don't have the money or I don't have the talent, or, I mean, sometimes money is going to prevent you from finishing a project, so maybe you need to scale that project back and make sure that money's not an issue. Talent, you can always do something to improve your craft, to improve your skill. But what are things that keep you from finishing? What are things that keep you from completing your projects? Because maybe if you tell me, I can come up with a reason why I'm not finishing. Because I can't, like I said, I see, maybe it's a combination of just small portions of things in my life, but it just, I don't get it sometimes. I just don't get it sometimes as to why I can't finish a project. My name is John Wilkerson. You've been listening to 10 the podcast, 10 minutes every 10 days. I'm going to cut it a little short here because I'm getting wet. Thanks for listening, and thanks for sticking me in your ears.